we hear a lot from our customers throwing around the term SRE, and it can mean a lot of different things in a lot of different organizations. Tell us about what SRE does at Xero.
Absolutely. So you may have heard Chris from REA speak earlier about enablement teams at REA, and at Xero we embrace a very similar model. We treat SRE as an enablement team. So our focus is on supporting other engineers throughout all of Xero, and we have nearly 2,000 people working in technology at Xero now. So supporting them with how to create great, resilient production services. And that's by giving them great tools, like you mentioned during the intro, right? Giving them insights into their platforms, helping understand where there might be areas that we need to invest more in order to really provide that great experience for our customers.
Excellent. Thank you. So Fiona, you've had a good run at Telstra.
I have. I started as a graduate, so it's an incredibly long run at Telstra.
Wow, it's really impressive. And you've done a wide variety of different roles at Telstra. And so you've been there, you've had multiple different titles.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us about your current role, your responsibility at Telstra, and how does PagerDuty fit in?
Yep. So it's quite an interesting and diverse role, but it's a bit hard to explain. So the how is probably the best way to look at it, which is that we look at how everything is done across the product lifecycle in the engineering and IT teams, so both products and services. So that can be anything from change, problem, incident, security. We do work around how we exit and simplify our networks as well. But it's very much focused on the how, not so much around the tooling, but the tooling and the how go together. There's not much point having great tooling if we haven't spoken about how we use those tools. But for me, for my team, our role isn't so much around dictating how people should work. It's more about guiding people to the ideal way of working and then helping everyone uplift to even better ways of working. So I look at it more as the how do you coach and give guidance and direction to all of the missions across Telstra. And we have hundreds of missions across Telstra, so there's quite a diversity in the type of work we do, and it does take quite an effort to kind of guide and uplift as well as get some consistency of practice.
Our team loves you. They say you help to drive and evangelize the power of PagerDuty. So thank you very much for your support. So this question goes to both of you, and Ian, we'll start with you. So we talked about, Jen talked about this morning about how the PagerDuty platform really drives that customer experience. And many different enterprises or companies have different customer profiles and customer needs that they need to address. How do you leverage PagerDuty to address certain customer profiles in your organization? Then how do you drive that across?
Yeah, so at Xero, our customers are small businesses and their partners, which is the accountants and bookkeepers that support them with their finances. And so for them, obviously, we play a really key role, a really important trust relationship that they trust us with their financial data, but they also rely on us sometimes to support their teams with payroll, to make sure they're paying their suppliers and tracking their finances as well. And so being really transparent with them when we have challenges and managing the expectations around when they can expect services to recover is super important, particularly if those are during what we call moments that matter periods. As we're approaching filing deadlines, for example, with regional tax officers, often there's a real scramble for those businesses while they're trying to get everything in order and get their tax return filed on time. And so it's essential to us to have really clear comms during that period. And so we have a team called the Customer Incident Management Team that works in close partnership with SRE, and their whole focus is on understanding the impact when we do have challenges on the platform, understanding exactly how that's manifesting for customers, and helping get the message out there to explain what workarounds they might be able to use, what they can expect to see from the platform, and again, like managing the expectations around recovery times. Yeah.
Well, I know nobody in this room waits to the last minute to do their taxes. But those that do, it's great that you've got some tools to respond to them and resolve issues quickly. So Fiona, how about Telstra?
Well, we've got quite a diverse customer set, so it's varies from the people in the room here that are our consumer customers, and there's probably many people in the room who are also our business and enterprise customers, and we also have wholesale customers. And obviously the ask across all of them is quite different in how we deal with that. We've spent quite a lot of time working on the resilience of our network, and particularly security as well is always top of mind. So for us, looking out for our customer, it's more around that. How do we make sure we're building really high quality solutions and maintaining them on an ongoing basis? And we do regular checks to make sure we've designed everything to align with what customers expect from us as well.
Okay. Excellent. So I'll toss another one your way. So you mentioned that you don't mandate the use of technology, but you try to articulate and drive education around the value that certain tools that can provide throughout Telstra. So how do you do that?
Yeah, and this is probably the perfect story for us is PagerDuty, and the way we've enabled PagerDuty and Telstra is what we would love to do with all of our tooling. And it's obviously it's been a selected tool, so we've enabled teams to say this is something we use. But we haven't gone out and said everyone must use it this particular way. And as I said, we've got lots of different customer sets, lots of different needs and hundreds of missions. So our use case of PagerDuty ranges from the very basic original use case for which PagerDuty was founded all the way through to really advanced teams using a lot of the capability that I really liked seeing this morning. So for us, it's now we've kind of gone through that organic pace, and it's about trying to identify some of the great things the teams are doing and helping some of the other teams get enabled onto it. And that can include things for us like how do we integrate with some of our existing tool sets, which PagerDuty does really well. So we're now going on a bit of a journey around that selling. What is the benefits? Why would we want you to shift? What are some other teams doing and learning from each other as well? So I'm pretty excited where we're going to be taking PagerDuty in the future because, as I said, we've got people using it at the most basic level. We've obviously got lots of missions not using it yet at all. And then we've got some missions that are doing some really exciting things.
Well, we're excited to learn with you. It's amazing. So I travel around the world globally, and the types of use cases that customers are coming up with and bringing to us as they get more comfortable and innovating on how to use the Operations Cloud are pretty remarkable. So hopefully you're going to participate
I hope so.
in the contest
Love to.
that Abhijit mentioned earlier today. Okay, Ian, I found it fascinating. I was looking at some stats on your team. So you've got 40 engineers that support a cast of 2,000 people. So how do you drive scale across Xero?
Yeah, great question. I guess the first thing to acknowledge is that you can't do everything, and you certainly can't do everything in a short span of time. And so what we really try and achieve is using data to make decisions about what the most valuable things are to focus on. And so one of the things we've been working, really focusing on, particularly in the last year, is understanding what risks we have within our platform and actually trying to quantify those risks. And then use that to feed into our prioritization mechanisms to understand what are the most valuable things that we could do that are going to make a difference to reduce the chance of things going badly. The other thing is finding advocates throughout the organization. So SRE, we've only got 40 people. We can't review everybody's change and everybody's infrastructure, but we can help in specific targeted spaces, right? And then that multiplies because engineers, they want to adopt good practices and they want to do things in better ways. And so when you equip them with the right tools to do that or the right mindsets to think about how to learn from incidents that we've had in the past, those type of things, they go and tell other people. And so you can multiply the impact. And the other mechanism that we use a lot is through our communities of practice. So we have a resilience community of practice that really laser in on this. It's really well attended. We've got a lot of enthusiastic practitioners there. They go and read all the books, listen to all the podcasts, and bring back a lot of the good insights from what's happening in the industry, what some of the thought leaders in site reliability are talking about, and then we think about how we can apply that at Xero.
Thanks for sharing. So you've heard today, and probably from us a lot, that customer trust is paramount, and it's critical to what we do as a company, and really important. So how do each of you seek to build trust with your customer base, and how do you operationalize that and drive it throughout your organizations? Why don't we start with you, Fiona?
All right. Well, for me, I think trust is quite an interesting one because people have a really long memory for the bad things, and it takes a long time to earn it back with the good things. So for me, that means it's a really sustained effort. It means you're continuously focusing on how you improve and deliver a great customer experience. Much like Ian, we spent a lot of time on resilience in both the understanding how our products are configured, How do we make sure that everything is performing the way it should in real life production? So again, I saw some great things this morning I'm keen to take back to the team around how do we test resilience in real life in our network, and also security is really important to us as well. So for me, I look at that as one avenue. The other avenue for us is that knowing what's going on with a customer's service before they do. So being able to get the information, getting to it quickly, and potentially resolving it before a customer even realises something's gone wrong. So that combination of having good blast zone control, having resilience backups, redundancies, etc., with the ability to respond really quickly to incidents goes really well to making sure we deliver a great experience.
Yeah, well said. You made me think of every great CEO has their own sayings that they say throughout the organization, and Jen has a few Jen-isms. And one of the Jen-isms that she constantly shares with the company is trust is earned in droplets and lost in buckets.
Yes.
And we take that
true.
very, very seriously.
Yep.
So Ian, at Xero, how do you all think about trust and driving that?
Yeah, something that's very close to my heart and very core to what we do at Xero as well. In fact, we have a company, OKR, for this half, which is around deepening our customer trust. And this, in my mind, trust goes much more broadly than just technology, right? Clearly, it's critical that our platform is stable and available for customers. But trust also relates to how we use data. And so we have the Xero data principles, which we've recently published externally as well. And we also, we really work hard to create transparency. So something that we've just started doing is using a new reporting framework. If you look at Xero's annual report for the most recent financial year, we're now including a lot of additional data and doing voluntary disclosures to help people understand really what goes on inside Xero. And how we make some of these decisions. So yeah, I think all those things go into creating a good trust relationship with our users. Part of it too is the other teams that use PagerDuty outside of technology, right? So we also have legal teams. We have our communication teams. They're also using PagerDuty for that exact same reason that we need to be able to respond when we see things that call for immediate attention.
Yeah, we're starting to see that more and more. People using PagerDuty in other functions to address urgent, critical work, and we've seen more and more the legal use cases popping up. So it's actually a good segue to the last question that I have for you both. And we talked, you heard from Dormain, you heard from Jen. We've talked about this constant interrupt work, this real-time work that constantly comes up. And we're starting to see people drive and drive new use cases throughout their companies, and they're bringing them to us, and we're learning all these amazing things from our customers, and we continue every day to learn new things from our customers. Each of you, I'd like to hear, what do you think, based on what you're learning, what you know about us, what do you think is a key problem that you would be able to leverage PagerDuty for that you're not, and you could drive throughout your organizations? Fiona, we'll start with you.
I have to say my mind was blown this morning, so I'm still just so many use cases, so many opportunities. I guess for me, probably the biggest one for us, because I'd say we're still fairly early on our PagerDuty journey, is the challenge that we've got a lot of DevOps teams, but we're still kind of getting into DevOps, and we've got a legacy world with legacy systems and technologies. So we have that need to introduce PagerDuty and bring people along on that journey, but progressively, and not a big push, everyone must now switch to this. So the thing I really like about PagerDuty is we can integrate it into a lot of our legacy systems. So it means we can use it and use its capability, and we can, as I said, teach people why it's really valuable and why we would like them to use it, rather than mandate everyone shall now do this. And that's exciting for my team as well, because it means we can not only coach people, but it also means we can look at the roadmaps and look at some of the future capabilities that we'd love to bring into our organisation as well. So I'm pretty excited by a lot of the use cases, and like everyone, trying to do more with less. I can see a lot of opportunity to do more with less.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Ian, how about you?
I was quite excited by the announcement this morning around Salesforce Service Cloud. We're a customer of Service Cloud as well. So my team are probably going to shoot me for saying this, because we'll have to explore whether this is the right thing to do or not before I just go ahead and tell them that it's what we're doing. But it is something we see quite a lot, is always striving to understand what the customer impact is, right? And often that's, at the moment, quite manual, having to ask, how many cases do we have about this bug that we're seeing? The integration that you demoed this morning, it looks like it makes that a lot more automatic. So I can see some value there.
So I definitely want to huddle up with your team.
All right, let's do that.
I'm very excited about what we're doing with in the customer service space, and this has been a long time coming. We've been hearing from our customers, hey, a lot of times we find out about these problems from our customers calling us, and that's a bad situation to be in. And if you've got a customer that is having issues placing orders, or it's tax season, they're trying to file their taxes, and you might have an SLA with that customer, and they can't see, they're blind to what engineering is doing, that customer service agent, the ability to not have them have to toggle back and forth and actually see, oh, this is a known problem, here's the blast radius, here's the estimated time that we believe we're going to be able to resolve this and drive that better customer experience is pretty exciting. We've got a lot of momentum with Salesforce as well as some of the other service providers out there in the market. Well, great. Well, Ian and Fiona, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for your perspectives that you've shared with all of us. We absolutely value you as customers and really appreciate your partnership and taking the time to travel in. Both of you traveled in to spend some time with us, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.